With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Welcome to the Real Chat Podcast,
where we talk business, lifestyle, and mindset.
For the modern entrepreneur.
I'm Baxter Colburn.
I'm Allison Elise.
I'm Mandi Wilkie. Let's chat.
Welcome to a very special edition of the Real Chat Podcast. I'm Baxter Colburn. That's Mandi Wilkie, joined with Allison Elise. Ladies, this is a very special episode because it has been months in the planning. We are so excited. We've talked about this. We're doing a roundtable episode tonight. We have not one, not two, not three, but 4 business owners with us tonight, 4 friends, 4 colleagues, 4 people we respect in the community. Mm-hmm. And we are so excited to get to hear their stories and just see more about their journeys in business and how they got to be where they are now. And I'm really excited for it.
And super excited to be back on camera.
Yeah, 100%. This is a live, very broadcast.
Everybody
you
wave.
Can check out the check out the outfits, the swag, right? Everything, right? But it's an exciting time, and we will let each of our guests introduce themselves, and then we have a general format, but we want it, as we always do, to keep it real, right? We want to have a nice, open, honest conversation just about entrepreneurship, the goods, the bads, the struggles, all the fun things that go into it, and just see how we can learn from each other and hopefully help you, the listener, as well in your entrepreneurial journey. So we'll start with that. Amanda, we'll start with you, and tell us a little bit who you are and what you do.
My name's Amanda Furman. I am a realtor and broker. I own a very small but mighty real estate team, primarily out of the Fox Valley. And then I also own Furman Properties with my husband. So we're real estate investors. We own single-family, multifamily, mixed-use properties, and I'm a mom to 3 children, 17, 14, and 11, and yeah, that's me.
I love
that.
So you're not busy at all.
No.
Right. You have plenty of time to come and do a podcast in the middle of the week.
Right?
This is like,
And in
I
the
get to
evening.
sit down and drink wine and talk about business with other people, like great.
Yeah, right, that's a win.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yes. Katie, how about you?
I'm Katy Butkovich. I own Injector boutique here in downtown De Pere. It's a small medical spa. I, by education, I'm a pediatric nurse practitioner, and sort of left that avenue about 3 years ago to start Injector boutique. I have 3 kids, 6, 3, and 1. And I'm, born and raised from De Pere, so I love being able to be back in this community and be in this room.
I love it.
Love it.
I love it. Did we want to reintroduce ourselves, or do we not care about ourselves? Should we just go to our guests? I wasn't sure, because some people, we might have new listeners, and I didn't know if we needed a fast spark notes or not, or just...
Go ahead.
Let's introduce our guests, and then we can touch a little bit on us.
Mackenzie, let's hear about you.
I'm Mackenzie August. I did own MacRoc Athletic Development Center in Swamico, which was a soccer-specific training facility for athletes of all ages. I sold it in August of 2023, I believe, so it's been a little bit over a year. Right at the same time, I had my second child, who is now 1, and I also have a 3-year-old, 2 boys, and so right now I'm just mom. I do some part-time marketing for our family company, called Orion Labels, that my husband does own in Seymour, which is a printing and packaging company. So right now I'm just trying to focus on being mom.
Love that. Thanks for being here.
I love it. Thanks for being here. And Anna.
I'm Anna Delfosse. I own Bloom Collaborative. It is a boutique salon, extension-focused salon in De Pere, right over the bridge. We are primarily like color and extensions. We do some cutting and things like that too, but just hair. I have a team of, there's 8 stylists now. And yeah, I got into extensions because I had gone through a round or 2 of some hair loss and experienced some of that kind of stuff myself. And I just fell in love with it and providing hair loss solutions and just dealing with clients who have thinning hair, who've lost things from like lost hair from medical reasons or stress or health, postpartum, that kind of thing. So we help a lot of women with that. And I'm also a mom, and I have a 2-year-old, and yeah, from Green Bay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
I think that was one of the most exciting things, common thread, we're all entrepreneurs, but other common thread, we're all parents.
We're all parents.
We're all parents, and balancing all of these things, no matter what stage you're in your career. We've all gone through similar stages. So, Allie?
Love it.
You want to introduce yourself?
Who are you,
Hi.
Allie? Yeah, tell
Who
us
are
more
you?
about yourself.
Me?
She's not a guest. She's a regular.
Okay, I'm Allie. The people that are watching, the space that we're sitting in right now, this serves as my full-time photography studio. I've been a photographer for 15 years, and I recently transitioned into kind of just focusing on motherhood and family photography along with business and branding. And going into 2025, my hope is to merge the two so that I can support mom entrepreneurs by documenting the life that they have. So, yeah, that's me.
Love that. Me?
Mandi?
I'm Mandi Wilkie. I own a private monthly magazine that goes to homeowners in the Ledgeview area called Stroll Ledgeview. I've been doing that for 6 years. I'm a single mom of 2 adult children, which is hard to believe. So they are almost 21, almost 19, and 11. So I have been balancing life as an entrepreneur and a single mom. That's all I really know from owning my own business now and in this lifetime. And it's a ride. It's a ride. It's a ride.
It's the best way to describe it.
Yeah. But it's great. And I love supporting local. I love meeting local people. I love the community that we live in, and I just like getting to know people and their story, and supporting other entrepreneurs is something I'm a big fan of.
I love
I love that.
Yeah.
I did not forget my children either. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
I know, I was
also
like,
I am a
are
mom of 2. I
There we
have a
go.
10-year-old and a 3-year-old, and they are the reason that I do everything that I do.
I love it.
right?
Very nice. My name is Baxter Colburn. I am the owner of Colburn Creative. I've been in business for almost 4 years now, and I specialize in videography, photography, and podcasting. I serve not only the Green Bay area, I've traveled around the country. I've been very grateful to get to do that the last couple of years, and love helping people tell their stories in all different types of industries. We specifically kind of brand ourselves on not having that one niche. We love to work with people in numerous niches, from real estate to manufacturing to hair to everything. We do a little bit of everything, and we love it. And I am a dad of 3, an 8, 6, and 7-month-old, all boys.
Also boys.
Boy squad. So we're riding strong here, and love being able to just encourage and meet other entrepreneurs and learn from them. So I'm excited to learn as well as listen to everything that everyone has to share tonight, just because we can all take something from everybody in our own journeys.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest questions I'm approaching the podcast with today is experiences that we all go through as business owners, and how we get to where we are in our business, what we do to work towards certain goals in our businesses. And I just am really excited to hear all of the stories and all of the goals and motivations that push everyone to get to where they want to be in their business.
And I think the main goal with the podcast was to keep it candid, and yes, talk about the fun things of entrepreneurship and the exciting things, but also the reality behind it and the balance behind it. And it's not always fun. It's not always enjoyable. But if we can share things that can inspire somebody that's maybe been on the fence, what made them leave nurse practitioning and go into doing what you're doing? What made them decide to pull the trigger on owning their own salon instead of renting? What made you decide to sell? Like, all of those things are impacting people that might be in your shoes and just don't know what to do next. Before we dive in, fun fact, am I right on this? Your old space became your space for a tiny bit. Then you moved across the street and you moved across the bridge.
Yeah.
Right. So at one point, your old space became your new space, right?
Yeah.
And now you're both in. So that's kind of a fun little tie.
We talked about that, I think, once at an event you had, and you, I think, put it best where you said, I needed that little, because it was a little
space.
It was like 600 square feet. Like,
Yeah.
tiny. I don't know how we crammed 6 chairs in there, but we did. And we talked about that once, and you had said so candidly, we needed this space to have this space. And that was totally the same for us. And that space was just a little like incubator for us to grow.
Yeah.
And I think you had a similar situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and that's what I love about like the De Pere downtown area is that there are so many different spaces for small businesses to kind of grow and develop. I mean, when you have a space that is like 600 square feet, there's not a lot of overhead. So it allows you to kind of grow and flourish, but you still have, the curb, the storefront sort of visual. And so, in the year that I was there, quickly outgrew it, but I needed that. I needed that main avenue sort of storefront to grow, and I could there. So
kind of crawl before you walk, if you will, right?
100%.
Your stepping stone.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we've all experienced that in business in some capacity, right? You start that small and it's a ripple effect, you blossom and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, but then you're like, okay, but I remember starting here, right? Like for me in my journey, the vault will always be part of my journey because it kept me alive in the first 2 years of business doing winter shoots because I'm like, I don't have a space, I don't know anybody. And then here came Allie along and I'm like, oh my gosh. So the vault has single-handedly kept my business alive and now helped me to get to the point that I'm at. And I'll always be grateful for having a space like this. And I know there's so many other people that can say that about this beautiful space that you have, Allie.
Thank you, me included. It's kept my business afloat as well.
And Mackenzie, you did that too, right? Smaller location.
Yeah, I
and
started
then
out
build
the
big.
trunk of my car.
The trunk of her car.
My car.
Yeah.
When I moved here, and then I was renting space, and then I decided to rent my own space in Swamico. And then in 2000, so the first building was 2017, second building I built in 2021. So
a common thread for the three of you with brick and mortars, a little bit different for your office probably. I mean, not necessarily.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Heads up, folks. Interest rates are falling. But as of September 23rd, 2024, you can still lock in a 6% or higher yield with a bond account at public.com. That's a pretty big deal because when rates drop, so can the interest you earn on your cash. A bond account allows you to lock in a 6% or higher yield with a diversified portfolio of high yield and investment grade corporate bonds. So while other people are watching their returns shrink, you can sit back with regular interest payments. But you might want to act fast because your yield is not locked in until you invest. The good news? It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up at public.com. Lock in a 6% or higher yield with a bond account. Only at public.com. Brought to you by Public Investing, member FINRA and SIPC. Yield to worst is not guaranteed. Not an investment recommendation. All investing involves risk. Visit public.com/disclosures for more info.
Can grow as well, but you're growing more of your real estate side of things where you're physically bringing people into your spaces to grow. So I love that.
Yeah, I love that. One of the big things that I think we wanted to do as far as kind of getting to know each of your stories a little bit is the why, right? We're fascinated by the why of why did you start business? Mandi and I started our businesses because we were going through divorces, needed money, desperation, kids to feed. Let's just throw a Hail Mary and hope for the you right? Allie, you said it's just, you were born with a camera in your hand, Allie.
Yeah.
Like you've been taking pictures since you could walk, basically, right? So it's just the necessity there of why we started is, fun to see now where we are at this point. So we'd love to hear from each of you ladies why you started what you did. Because Amanda, you and I have talked a little bit about your backstory, and we were texting this morning about it. We're like, I wanted to be a mom and a wife, so the fact that I'm doing what I'm doing is wild to me, and I think that's phenomenal. And I want to hear a little bit more about the why and the how, if you would be willing to share about your journey.
Yeah, so I don't really have a sexy story to share, but Baxter's right. Growing up, I just wanted to be a mom and a wife someday, and you couldn't say that in school. So I decided I wanted to be a teacher. I had some very influential teachers in my life. So I did. I went to school. I got my degree in history and social studies and my certification to teach secondary education. So I taught middle school and high school for
Brave
a few
soul
years.
you are.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
That's
Even
amazing.
more respect for you now.
It's
Holy
great.
smokes.
That's amazing.
And then I was lucky enough to stay home for 10 years with my children and raise them. I had little jobs on the side. I was a cake decorator. I was a bartender, a waitress. But then after 10 years, I just came to a point where I'm like, I need more. I'm ready to leap. My youngest was about to go into 4K. So I knew I was going to have some more time back during the day. And I just made a list of things I wanted to do. And real estate was a seed that was planted in my head by my cousin's husband, Dan, who is still an agent with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group. And it's a very low barrier of entry into real estate. So you pass a state test, you take a 72-hour class, and then they release you to the wolves. So I was like, well, if this doesn't work out, at least it's not a lot of time or money.
4-year education.
Correct. Yeah. And I did. My first attempt was nursing school, and I spent one day in class, and I was like, I can't do this for 4 more years. I was already paying off my first bachelor degrees, so I abandoned that right away. But I got into real estate, and it just took off immediately. Gratefully.
That's unfortunate that it happens that way for people. No,
Right.
just kidding. What a huge blessing.
I'm very grateful. And hindsight, I sort of had set myself up to be very successful in this industry without knowing it because I was involved in so many things. I coached for youth sports, and if people trust you with their children, they'll trust you with pretty much anything.
Correct. Yep.
I have a big family, so I set myself up to be very successful.
So you have a lot of people in your corner.
Correct.
Yes.
Well, and you've done a great job because I think if people don't know, you brand yourself as the Fox Cities homegirl, right? Like you're Fox Cities homegirl. Like you, if I think of the Fox Cities, I'm trained now of if I think of anywhere in the Fox Cities, I'm like, Amanda. I'm like, Amanda. Like it's trained my brain now to do that because of how you have really become almost like the spokesperson and like the tour guide of the Fox Valley. You do such a great job with shouting out local businesses and sharing that journey, as well as being supportive, obviously, of your kids' athletics and their dreams, and then just being so ingrained in the community. So I think you've done such a great job of continuing to expand that umbrella of coverage that you have, because you really do run the Fox Valley. I feel like that is your area and what you do and serve it so well.
I didn't even pay you to say that.
Thank
you.
And you also have added model to your
your
resume.
I mean, dreams do come true. You can be 42 years old and just become a model.
Yep.
So
that's
been
Baxter,
wonderful.
And you
Thanks,
can be
Baxter.
a model.
My pleasure. It's been a blast.
I just truly, organically, wholeheartedly love the Fox Cities. I have tried to leave several times, lived several different places, and just keep coming back. We've been back now for 11 years, and I just become more and more grateful to be in such a safe but exciting and culture-rich community. I mean, I feel like Green Bay De Pere is also part of the valley. We live in such a wonderful area. It's affordable from a housing standpoint. I know a lot of people have a lot of gripes about that, but if you compare our home costs and our cost of living to other parts of the nation, we're definitely in the bottom third of costs. So,
Yeah.
I love it.
Love that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You're pointing at me, so you want me to go next?
Pointing at you if you want to. Yeah, if you want to.
I'm going to Anna.
You can go wherever you like to go.
We were assigned people when I got Anna. No, I'm just so Anna and I originally
she fought me
She
for
very
you.
much fought for you.
I fought
they
for
arm
you.
wrestled. It was
I
a
fought
whole
hard.
thing.
I fought hard. I'm not gonna lie, because I've been going to you for a long time as a client. But before that, I knew you in the singing world a little bit. And then as a client, I've been with you. I was in your old space, now in your new space, now in your newly renovated space, your 2 stories. It's not that new anymore. You guys did that a while ago.
Yeah.
A year now?
Yeah, we finished off our, we finished it kind of around May of this year, but
when
it's
was your
been
party?
a slow process.
Yeah.
I mean, like we were talking about moving out of the old space. Our last space was so small that when we got the 2-story building, we basically just took that and moved into just the bottom, and that was already like more than double the space we had. So we were like, we'll just operate out of the bottom while we work on the top. And so we had plenty of time to kind of renovate, build up to that. So now we are fully operational upstairs and downstairs.
And the upstairs is really designed for a completely different experience. And if you're doing like bridal parties or group events, things like that, that's really what the upper area is designed for now.
Yeah. So right now it's been great as like a private bridal suite, which we will still use it for that. But going forward, we will end up having to put stylists up there full time. Starting probably in January, we'll probably open that to have, we have a girl starting in January. So we're going to kind of be maxed out downstairs. Cool. So we're going to have to slowly move up there. It won't be every day, but day by day we'll be like, okay, there'll be 4 downstairs, 4 upstairs for now until we have all 12 chairs full. So, and
it's super unique because the 2 spaces, although they're in the same building, they look completely different. The design, I mean, they're themed similarly, but the decor and everything, you get a different vibe when you're upstairs.
Yeah, it definitely is. They're complementary, but upstairs is a little bit different. It's great lighting. It's really cozy. Downstairs has more of that like exposed, kind of like this space, very exposed brick, the open ceilings, all of that. So
that's beautiful.
So my question for you is this. Originally when you started, you were renting a chair somewhere, right? You were on your own, and then you took the leap to being a salon owner. And then from there, you had to make a decision to bring people on. And at that time, my understanding in the salon world is you could have chosen to allow people to rent from you or to be on your team. So can you talk a little bit about that decision and what that looks like? Because you do create a vibe, I'm going to say very different from any other salon that I've been familiar with or associated with. It's a team feel there. Yeah, and absolutely. People really do you have the same core values, the same goals, they're not people that I'm renting this chair and I'm renting this chair and I'm renting this chair. So talk to us a little bit about your decision to do that and maybe one thing that you love about it and one thing you're like, oh, I wish I could change this a little bit. Maybe there's nothing you would change.
Yeah. Well, you said it best. It was really the decision to do that was really to have that like team unity. And that kind of is where the collaborative piece comes in our name, where we do have a very like unified collaborative environment where a lot of our guests know every stylist or they can see anyone and they know like, oh, I'm good to see so-and-so or so-and-so because, you know, I know I'm going to get that same like elevated experience. So that really has worked for us. It has served us well. Just having that same core values, the same mindset, the way we approach our services, the way we approach our guests. I think just having that team piece was really important to me. I never wanted to own a salon. I always said like, that's for crazy people. I don't want to do that. Interesting. And I felt very called. I always say it found me. Like I feel very much like I was pushed into it in a way, just from God, the universe, the circumstances, all of it just kind of came together. And really what it was is I was renting a chair. I was in the De Pere area and I kind of had outgrown my space, my clientele, and I had approached them wanting to see if I could, you know, have an assistant, rent another chair. And I just knew like, I'm just going to outgrow this. So I kind of started looking at other options, and then we call it Little Bloom now, but our Little Bloom space was available and it just sort of organically happened. I mean, it definitely wasn't effortless or easy. It was very challenging to do a build out and still have a clientele and, you know, craziness that goes with, I'm sure you guys all know, having done a build out, it's never goes as planned. But that space had been vacant for so long that there was a lot of work that had to have been done. And so managing all of that, and then I just thought like, oh yeah, like kind of like you were saying, like, well, just, you know, maybe I'll just rent a couple chairs, I'll have an assistant, I'll do my thing. And it just grew. I hired on an assistant and it just grew. And then all of a sudden people wanted to come work and I had work for them, and it just, the right people I was just blessed to have join my team. And most of my team has been with me for not since the very beginning, but almost. So we have pretty low turnover, and I think that is because of that like collaborative, unified environment where we all have that same mindset and about our philosophy and just how we treat our guests. And
you guys seem to have a lot of fun, which helps.
We do,
right?
So,
you have a little bit of fun. 2 things real quick before we slide on to our next one is one thing that I always one thing that I really enjoy is when I come to the salon to see you, usually there's 3 or 4 stylists that are saying, hey, Mandi. And that is really a nice thing when you walk in, instead of walking in and you're like, I walk through 5 people and nobody, and you feel like it feels like a family there. And then number 2, I remember from Little Bloom, when I was at Little Bloom with you, I remember you looking for spaces for quite a while. And the one common denominator every time you talked about is, I have to be in this area. I have to be in the De Pere area. I really want to be here. So I love that for you, and I love that you found that space. And I have no doubt that you will outgrow that space as well. So
yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Heads up, folks. Interest rates are falling. But as of September 23rd, 2024, you can still lock in a 6% or higher yield with a bond account at public.com. That's a pretty big deal, because when rates drop, so can the interest you earn on your cash. A bond account allows you to lock in a 6% or higher yield with a diversified portfolio of high yield and investment grade corporate bonds. So while other people are watching their returns shrink, you can sit back with regular interest payments. But you might want to act fast, because your yield is not locked in until you invest. The good news? It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up at public.com. Lock in a 6% or higher yield with a bond account, only at public.com. Brought to you by Public Investing, member FINRA and SIPC. Yield to worst is not guaranteed. Not an investment recommendation. All investing involves risk. Visit public.com/disclosures for more info.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. What's your perfect night? Maybe you're settled at home alone or with loved ones, covered in blankets, about to watch your favorite show. It's cozy, it's calm, and you're ready for a perfect night in. Therapy can feel a bit like that, a place for comfort, a time when you replenish your energy and take care of yourself. And hey, you can even do it without leaving that same cozy couch. This season is the perfect time to give therapy a try, right from the comfort of home. With BetterHelp, get matched with a tailored therapist based on your needs and preferences entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Find comfort this season with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com.
I've known you since you were renting your chair. When I approached you and we started working together and we decided that we were going to kind of be partners essentially. So I feel like from a client standpoint, but also from a business partner standpoint, I've watched your business grow and meet all of these different levels and tiers of success that I don't think you're anywhere near like the top of your success. I think you have tapped into a really amazing clientele. You have such a fantastic way of treating every single client that comes through the doors. But also it's the culture that you create. You're in an industry that is so overly saturated with so many different people that can do hair. I have so many friends that do hair. But when you're in the beauty industry, it's not just surface level. It's deeper than that. And the amount of times that I've had crying heart to hearts with you in your chair is one of the coolest things.
And you have been there really from the beginning. Like, we met right before I got that space, and you were one of the first people I told about that space. And we were out for lunch, and I was super, super pregnant. And I was like, Allie, I'm going to go see a new space. I'm about to have a baby.
And I was like, you have to see it, because you'll know immediately. I was like, you will know immediately when you walk through those doors if that space is for you, because that's what happened with me with this space. I was at one of the lowest points in my life. And when I walked through the doors, why am I so freaking emotional?
I don't know.
It's the wine.
It's the wine.
I had like 3 sips of wine.
We've talked about this before.
It's because this is hard. Entrepreneurship is hard, and you're supporting people, and things about me that most people don't, because we sit in these chairs with these people that we trust with extensions by us.
Well, and that's the industry that you're in. That's the industry that you're in, is that everybody here has a hairdresser, and you talk about more than just
it's a therapist.
Your day, So I love that to see you succeed.
We've talked about that though as well on a recent episode about how it's so much more than, right? Like we've talked about this as like it's so much more than a video, than a photo, than an ad in a magazine, right? Because you don't know the depth of everything behind it, right? Like I've shared this on the show and I've talked to you about it, but the text that you sent me after the first time you modeled, I shared. I didn't say the name, but I shared, and now tying the full circle, I'm like, that solidified for me in so many different ways. I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is so much bigger than any camera, any lens, any dollar amount, anything. I'm like, this is so much bigger, and holy shit, I get to be a part of this. I swore. I'm sorry. I know, it's fine. But like, it's that moment though of like, oh, okay, like, thank you for allowing me to be in this moment and to be a part of this thing that is helping you. And you've probably got hundreds of those stories, I can imagine, Anna, or it's such a cool thing, and you're like, huh. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And she just keeps it all right here too.
Yeah,
but takes all of her junk and she keeps it all right there.
Every single one of your stylists are that. Like I know all of them individually on their own level as well because I take their photos. But I mean, all of them are like that, which is just so cool. So
You're
it's the
lucky.
culture that you have created within Bloom is it's
everything.
It's everything. Yeah.
And that's where like it's so funny because like Bloom Collaborative, I was like, that's kind of a mouthful. And not to go into the whole story about how we got our name, but it's funny how the collaborative part really just came to be.
Yeah.
I really didn't like it at first, actually. And my husband's like, no, it's so good. That's the essence of Bloom. That's your culture. That's everything you guys are. And now I'm like, okay, I get it. I see it now.
I love it.
I love that.
I love having you next to me. I love that. So good. Yes. Okay. On to the next lovely lady, Katy. Oh. When you came into my email asking for some branding photos, my heart just like filled. I've known you.
She had a girl crush.
Yeah. I mean, for a lot of my clients, and when I started to speak into the universe that I wanted to work with small businesses, I had been working with Anna with Bloom for a while, but I had never really like extended that or said it or manifested it. And the first session we did together was amazing. And I love everything that you're about, and I love being your friend, and I love being able to sit in a room with you and talk to you about your business and hear about your business and watch your business grow too. I want you to explain your why behind Injector Boutique. Yeah.
Well, that is a very like layered story, but
lay it out on me.
Yeah, so I've always, science has always been my thing. I was a nerd growing up, and I still am, but finished my master's at Marquette and immediately was sort of drawn and passionate about neurology and neuroscience. So I loved, hands-on procedures. But I did that for 8-9 years, and I could feel that I was like missing something in my career.
Yeah.
And I always loved, beauty industry. I loved to get my eyebrows done and my eyelashes and makeup and facials and hair. And, I worked with a bunch of neurologists every day. I didn't have anyone to like share that passion with, day to day. So I had a really good friend who I went to school with, and she had been an injector for years. And, she did my injectables in Milwaukee, and I loved the confidence it gave me when I would have my treatments done. So it was something always I was curious about, but I was like, I can't do that. I'm in neurology. This is like my path. And then I moved back home here to Green Bay, De Pere, like 5 years ago, and I was with neurology here as well. And I kind of bopped around to different injectors and different hospital systems, and I never really found a particular sort of injector that I was going to stay with. And my results were just kind of like, so. And I was like, I could do this. I could do better than this. Mm-hmm. And I could provide I felt like I could provide more for this area.
Yeah.
I think education is power. And I felt like, so many people, I've realized this now, like, they don't know sort of what they don't know about injectables. So many people don't know full face tox. They only know the FDA approved upper face tox. And it's like, well, what is happening to the rest of your face then if you're only treating half of it? So, I love that this has evolved into sort of a beauty meets science for me, and that I can sort of educate clients so that they can make the best decisions for themselves in the treatments, rather than them just sort of being like, I don't know what to do, just do whatever, you know, or they come in and they keep asking for like the same treatment over and over, and it's like, well, let's look at the big picture. What are we treating? What's our goal? So you know, I do a lot of education in my previous role in neurology when you meet with families and kids, and so I love that, like, I can sort of bring that into the injectable world. So I think I answered your question.
You did. Yeah, definitely did.
I kind of got off topic.
Not everybody needs a neurologist, but everyone needs an injector.
And you also have Sarah, who does all the facials, and she's an esthetician, so she's a part of Injector Boutique, so you also have a team. And your beautiful space that you opened up and are thriving in, I feel like is such a staple in the community too. It sets you apart, and you merge this beautiful aesthetic that is just you. I just feel like everything you do is great. And the space is beautiful. I was lucky enough as well. I was lucky enough to sit and watch both of these brick and mortars start from the bottom. The day that you asked me to go over and take a picture, and I walked in, and your brother, there was literally nothing. It was just like bare staircase and no floor, nothing. And I got to watch it be built from the ground up. That's one of the most beautiful parts of my job, is to see these businesses down to like the studs of a brick and mortar, and to be able to document it being built from the ground up. It's been so cool to watch both of the businesses.
But I think that really speaks to like what you do, because I know with my whole heart that like I wouldn't be where I am today without you.
Come on.
I'm going to second that.
I
totally agree.
You know, it's like, because you're the one that's like documenting the growth and documenting what we're doing. And I think, you know, again, for small businesses, branding is everything, and finding, you know, sort of your style and what represents you is everything, and you're the person that's capturing that for us.
Thank you. I feel like there's a photographer for every small business, right? So there's so many people that have their photographer that they work with, and it's all about the relationship that you build with that person, and being able to come back to it and say, this is what I'm looking at, this is what I want. And that's what I love to do. So thank you for that. You're so sweet. I love that.
It's so true, though. I mean, not to continue to pile on to Allie, but like I'm not sitting in this position without you. Truthfully, though, like our conversations early on to what I did in starting in my business was huge, driven by the fact of like, yeah, go for it. You took my early branding photos too, and gave me that confidence. Like, yeah, try it, go for it, do it, reach out to that person. I'm like, oh, okay. So
I just love supporting businesses. I just like absolutely love hearing the story and the heart. Like, I am not a surface level person. If you know me, I'm not surface level. I'll get right down to it right away. So yeah, it's one of the coolest things to be able to sit in this community and watch these businesses grow and really be that support, because other people don't necessarily realize it unless you say it to them that, you know, I support you, or if I'm a client of yours, or if I'm sitting down in the chair and I, you know, end up getting my hair done, someone compliments me and I'm like, I only go to Bloom, whatever. What goes around comes around. That support is
100%.
So important in our communities. I just love that.
Yeah, I love it. Mackenzie.
Wait, I get to start with Mackenzie. Remember, we're tag teaming.
Mandy fights
Mandy's been fighting everybody tonight.
You both know me.
That's what we said. I'm like, we have joint custody. We said of you.
Listen up, folks. Time could be running out to lock in a historic yield at Public.com. As of September 23rd, 2024, you can lock in a 6% or higher yield with a bond account. But here's the thing. The Federal Reserve just announced a big rate cut, and the plan is for more rate cuts this year and in 2025 as well. That's good news if you're looking to buy a home, but it might not be so good for the interest you earn on your cash. So, if you want to lock in a 6% or higher yield with a diversified portfolio of high yield and investment-grade bonds, you might want to act fast. The good news? It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up at Public.com. And once you lock in your yield, you can earn regular interest payments even as rates decline. Lock in a 6% or higher yield with a bond account at Public.com. But hurry, your yield is not locked in until you invest. Brought to you by Public Investing, member FINRA and SIPC. Yield to worst is not guaranteed. Not an investment recommendation. All investing involves risk. Visit public.com/disclosures for more info.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. What's your perfect night? Maybe you're settled at home alone or with loved ones, covered in blankets, about to watch your favorite show. It's cozy, it's calm, and you're ready for a perfect night in. Therapy can feel a bit like that, a place for comfort, a time when you replenish your energy and take care of yourself. And hey, you can even do it without leaving that same cozy couch. This season is the perfect time to give therapy a try, right from the comfort of home. With BetterHelp, get matched with a tailored therapist based on your needs and preferences entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Find comfort this season with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com.
I know Mackenzie because of her sister.
That's true.
And then I see her at Voyagers every day that I'm there.
That is true.
So you both have a Voyagers addiction.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great addiction to have. All right, go first.
So, okay, fine. So Mackenzie and we just talked about when this was, and we think it was about 10 years ago. 2015.
2015 is when I moved here, yes.
She was a baby then, and I was 25. No, but she came to work at Cryotherapy of Wisconsin. So her and I got to work together for a little bit. And I mean, that was, you were done playing soccer.
No.
Playing. Yeah,
I was like, no, she wasn't.
Wait.
Because that's how I
when the
met
glory,
Baxter.
yes, the glory came back. But at the time, you were done. But still had very much a passion for the sport. Had recently just moved up here from Chicago.
Yes.
And started your life here. Weren't married yet.
No.
You were on the way, maybe, to it, but not quite. And so it was really fun getting to know you as just someone that was young and exciting and starting out in I'm going to say in the adulting, right? So I got to know you then. But then I'm going to let Baxter take over.
I was trying to do the math.
But you also left Cryo to start that business. Sorry.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
I mean,
So
you were my boss, pretty much.
I mean, I've really,
You taught me a lot of my
used-
sales skills.
Oh, well, thanks. I like to say that I'm not cut out to work for anybody and nobody's cut out to work for me.
I learned that too from that whole experience.
She's like, you were awful.
No, you were awesome.
Well, thank you. I mean, there you go. Fill my bucket and now Baxter can take over. No, but I do think, I remember after about 3 years into that role thinking like, I'm not cut out to teach people. I'm not cut out to manage people. I'm not good at this. Like I'm good at working for myself and growing myself. And then the ironic thing is when you look back at the people that worked there, the majority of them started their own business. And that's cool, right?
Yeah.
To look back, you did, Drew did, all these people that came through and that started their own business. I was like, okay, maybe I did. Maybe I did. And, at some point do that. But I love that. And I loved watching you just decide you were going to start this soccer thing in the middle of Green Bay and go for it. So, all right. So now you can take over.
I say
It's fine. I'll
keep it
step
short, 'cause
back.
we want Mackenzie to actually talk about
Yes.
everything as well. But yeah, 6 years I've known you. I first met you by saying your name on the radio and on YouTube because you were a soccer player for the Green Bay Glory. So I called a lot of Mackenzie August goals, especially from the penalty kick spot because you're a sniper from the penalty kick spot. And then we worked together at MacRoc a little bit. You had me come in and help kind of tell that story a little bit. And then our kids went to school together briefly for a little bit. I know your sister. Your sister's modeled for me. And now your most recent with everything with Johnny and Orion
You've
as
kind
well.
of done a little bit of everything, every part of my life.
Yeah, and it's funny because when people ask me, you're like, oh, how do you know Mackenzie? I'm like, we've lived 3 separate not lives together, but like I've seen you in 3 separate areas, and I always feel very honored. Similar as Allie talks about all the time, like you document the engagement session, the wedding, and the birth, and I've come along life with you a little bit, which has been so fun, and I'm very honored anytime I get to do that with people. So it's been so fun to see all of that. But I guess we can hit the rewind button and go back to MacRoc because. Was it questions of, hey, will you train my kids? You played soccer, you must know what you're doing, or like, how does that start? You said it started out of the back of your trunk. Like, where did that idea come from to be like, no, there's something here to build going forward?
How do I make this long story short? So when I was playing, so I played high school and college ball, and then I played semi-pro out of school, and I truly started the business in Colorado when I was playing semi-pro, just to make some extra cash. And then I actually moved from Colorado to here, because I was in Chicago, then spent the summer in Colorado, and then moved up here. The reason why I'm here is my husband's from here. And when I moved here, I was like, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do. And actually my first gig was I coached for De Pere Select, for just one of their youth teams. And then I worked at Cryo, and I can't remember at what point. I think I was a Montessori teacher when I first moved here at
I don't remember that.
I didn't know that.
Well, I think the timeline was I moved here, I was coaching, and I decided to go teach for the Montessori in like their 3K. So I went to school for sociology and sports management. So I don't know what drew me to apply there. But then I think when I stopped working there is when I came to Cryo.
Okay.
And then I was also trying to run my business
Yeah.
part-time too. So then, I just started training people from the club that I was working for, as well as just surrounding clubs and athletes. And I didn't want there to be a conflict of interest, because I started training kids from all over the Fox Valley, really, from like all the way down to like Oshkosh through like Iron Mountain. So
Oh my gosh.
I decided to
Little road trip for soccer practice.
Yes, I would drive all over, which is
That takes a real soccer mom right there to drive their kid 2 hours.
Well, I drove myself.
Oh.
She went to
my
them.
mom.
She went to Iron Mountain.
You went to them?
Yeah. So when I
Oh.
started, I mostly was actually in De Pere, but when my clientele base started building, I just really
Went wherever they
drove
go.
Wow.
Which was great when I decided to have my own space. However, in the winter, the only facilities that were really available was Sports Emporium, Synergy at the time, and I actually don't think I trained on Appleton, so everyone kind of came centrally, which was nice because then there was less driving for me. But anyways, so when my clientele base grew, I decided, especially at like this time of year in the winter, I just didn't have enough space to serve the clients that I had. So I decided to rent some space. It was just like a warehouse that I laid some turf down and put up some equipment in Swamico off of Lineville. And then I was able to just kind of like, initially it was very low key. Actually, initially, prior to opening that space, me and my husband were like, oh yeah, like we'll buy some land. I'll put up like a shed and just like have this little turf space. And I'll do this like really part-time. But obviously that didn't happen. So then I decided to rent the space in Swamico, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, because the business was me, like the brand was me. Everyone, they were coming for me. And part of that was like I said, I'm not from here, I'm from Chicago. I played soccer at the University of Arizona, and I played all over the country, and then I played in New Zealand for a semester. So when I moved up here, I realized that, one, there weren't a lot of female soccer coaches, and at least like available, or that like I think that there were
Or that were doing like side coaching.
And like the niche of private training was kind of up and coming
here.
Where growing up in Chicago and then traveling and playing all over the country, it was just a thing that I actually put myself through. And then I realized the niche was kind of everywhere. It's kind of like all of you, like people come to you specifically for something. And I just realized when I moved up here that I was working with this team, and all these parents would just like, they want their kids to excel, but they knew that they needed extra work. And so I just like kind of followed that niche of mine, and then it grew tremendously to a point where like I didn't think I could do it anymore. But so anyways, I wanted to gear the brand away from me for when I had a family, that I could keep the business going but step away at the same time. So that's when I decided to invest in some equipment from the UK, which is
state-of-the-art equipment, like nobody else
really
around
amazing,
here had.
yeah.
Which if I like said the names, nobody would even understand what it was. But it pretty much was equipment like ball distributors and panels that allowed players to receive and distribute and play amongst the equipment to enhance their skills.
Super cool.
Without a person.
Which, technically could be used without a coach.
And there's so many data and analytics that you could pull and showcase. And it's incredible.
It was. And granted, I still ended up hiring a few coaches. So I pretty much hired players from like GB, the soccer team, St. Norbert's. So I kind of went to the colleges to find like the reputable coaches that also like had experienced private training in their upbringing of becoming a soccer player, because that's really, they can feed it better because they've experienced it. So I built a small team and the equipment, and then I was able to step aside a little bit more, and I was able to kind of, the people that I was training, introduce them to other coaches to get them comfortable. And then that was in 2017, and then we had that space through 2021. And we built a brand new space across the street from where we were. So I think we went from like, I can't remember the square footage of the first building, but then the second building was like close to 8,000 square feet. And it was kind of built around being able to run the equipment specifically to the trainings, but also open up the space to if teams wanted to come in and rent it. At that point, the brand was interesting because the brand did start fading to like the equipment and not even the trainers. However, I was very particular about the trainers that we had, but there was only like a small niche that even knew who I was, which was bittersweet, because you realize you have these clients coming in and you're like, oh, and some people are like, oh, Mackenzie, and just talk to you the whole time. And then some are like, oh, I'm here for Coach Hannah. And it's like, you realize in those moments, like, I got it to where I wanted it to be. But it's still your baby. And you're like, you're a little bit protective over it. Well, not a little bit, as you probably all understand. You're extremely protective over it. So I built a team. I had like, depending on the seasons, like in the summer, I had close to 20 employees, and then in the winter I would have, fall and spring is when majority of our coaches went away to school. So I had a smaller crew in the fall and the spring, and then in the winter and the summer I grew to like 15 to 20 coaches, and then we would just have players and teams and groups come in and train. And do you want me to like fade into
when did you decide to sell?
Yeah, I was going to ask what
so I was in it for the long haul. I built the the second facility. Decided to start building it actually initially you were
pregnant with Sabin, right?
With
Sully. Yeah.
Right before COVID hit, we were going to start, and then it hit, and we were like, we've got to backtrack. And then
Listen up, folks. Time could be running out to lock in a historic yield at Public.com. As of September 23rd, 2024, you can lock in a 6% or higher yield with a bond account. But here's the thing. The Federal Reserve just announced a big rate cut, and the plan is for more rate cuts this year and in 2025 as well. That's good news if you're looking to buy a home, but it might not be so good for the interest you earn on your cash. So, if you want to lock in a 6% or higher yield with a diversified portfolio of high yield and investment-grade bonds, you might want to act fast. The good news? It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up at Public.com. And once you lock in your yield, you can earn regular interest payments even as rates decline. Lock in a 6% or higher yield with a bond account at Public.com. But hurry, your yield is not locked in until you invest. Brought to you by Public Investing, member FINRA and SIPC. Yield to worst is not guaranteed. Not an investment recommendation. All investing involves risk. Visit Public.com/disclosures for more info.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. What's your perfect night? Maybe you're settled at home alone or with loved ones, covered in blankets, about to watch your favorite show. It's cozy, it's calm, and you're ready for a perfect night in. Therapy can feel a bit like that, a place for comfort, a time when you replenish your energy and take care of yourself. And hey, you can even do it without leaving that same cozy couch. This season is the perfect time to give therapy a try, right from the comfort of home. With BetterHelp, get matched with a tailored therapist based on your needs and preferences entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Find comfort this season with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com.
Then it was because we finished the building in like June of 2021, and I had my first child in February of 2021. So I was pregnant with Sully, and I was like in it for the long haul. I built it obviously to be like, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. Also, like, I could pick and choose my schedule, but at the same time, I was still there after school hours, because if I had to have a meeting with a parent, because I'm meeting with parents and players, it was after school hours and after work hours. So I actually like was in the office every day at 8 a.m. but wouldn't leave until like 10 p.m. because I would do like the business side of things when I didn't have anybody in, but had to do the face-to-face later on during the day. So I did that obviously from the very beginning, but once I had my first kid, it kind of started to hit me like, all right, my husband was super supportive. He was home. He would be home at night. I would try and get home for bedtimes and dinners, and I was like, okay, like, I still love what I do. And I didn't have like a clear, like, my mindset was just like, this is like my dream. This is what I want, as well as being a mom, and I can do both. And then a couple of years went by, and we got pregnant with our second child, Sabin, and I honestly can't tell you, like, I was nervous. I didn't know if it was the hormones. I didn't know if it was like, I didn't know what it was, but I just, something switched, and I don't know. This point in my life hit me. I honestly hit rock bottom. I think I just I loved what I did. A bigger piece of it was everyone I started the business with in 2015, everyone being like the clients themselves, so the players, a majority of them, so they were like 11 or 12 when I started it. So now it's 2023, or it was 2022. No, it was 2023. But when I decided to sell, I think it was like this time of 2022, they were all graduating. So the people that I personally really connected with and worked with and got to know and kind of just like brought up in my business, I had let them go. I had graduated them. They had moved on. And there were a few, obviously, that I still worked with personally, but I think like that was the first thing, is I was like, okay, my emotional connection to this isn't as much as it always has been. And then obviously you have kids and you realize the emotional connection to that. And then I loved the business side of things. I truthfully do not enjoy managing people.
I didn't like doing that either.
Yeah. It takes a special person to manage people.
Yeah, and I admire all my staff. They were amazing people. Everyone stepped up. Everyone helped me out. Everyone did their thing. They helped the business get to exactly where it was when I sold it. But that was the piece that frustrated me, and that made me think, got me into some ruts sometimes where I'm like, why am I really doing this? So as I faded out of the training side of things more and more, it was more of managing and business. And I loved the business, the marketing, the development of it all. But then the management became a little tricky, and I just had realized what I was missing out on back at home. So that emotional piece had kind of faded. My first son, he was 2, and then I was pregnant with our second, and my husband honestly came to me and he was like, I think you need to be done. And I was like, whoa. And I just honestly felt the biggest weight. And not that I had ever been hesitant to go to him. My parents were business owners. It's just in me, it's, ingrained in me to just do work. And I have always filled my plate to a point where I thought I enjoyed, but I think I finally have realized that I was just I kept adding to it, trying to find joy, and I thought I had that joy until I literally wiped everything out, and now I'm a different person, which has been super cool to see, because I didn't think I would find it that way. But when my husband said that, I just felt like the world lift off me, and I was like, you're right. And then it was literally from that moment on, we were trying to decide how I was going to do it, if I was just going to close, if I was going to sell. And we had been talking to a company in Indiana who wouldn't necessarily be a competitor of ours. They did the same thing. They're just obviously in completely different states. So they have the same equipment. They run their business the same way I did. And we visited them a few times. It just didn't feel right. And then at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to ride it out. This was in February of 2023. I was due in August of 2023 with our second child, and at that point I was like, you know what, it is what it is. We'll just ride it out. I'll figure out how I'm going to do this with 2 kids. And then somebody locally, a club, had come to me and asked if I would sell, and it was like a godsend.
They didn't know that you were trying to sell? Or
No, they had always rented space, and I had reached out to them saying, hey, I need your winter schedule. And at that point, I like can visualize the text. It was like, would you ever sell everything? And I,
You were like,
30
yes.
seconds, I was like, yes.
It's yours.
That's the stars aligning right
Oh
there.
yeah,
for
and
you.
that's when I didn't
Wow.
take like a second to hesitate. So when that happened, that was like February, March of 2023. It was like just, paperwork, attorneys, all that stuff, from like February up until I like remember like signing things the day I gave birth, like on my phone, I'm pretty sure. But we solidified it. We announced it.
So it was fast. I thought
yeah.
it was like Saban came and, oh, by the way, MacRoc
Yeah,
has
so
been
we
sold.
had,
It was like
yeah,
bang,
so we
bang.
announced it. I can't remember. Briefly after Saban was born, in September, and then it was finalized and handed over as of October 30th.
They say the picture that's in my head is you and Johnny and the boys out front of
Yes.
MacRoc, right? And
With-
Saban's in the
yes.
carrier or something, right?
Yeah, he was
Car
like
seat?
a month old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like I jumped around a little bit with that story, but
Wow.
for me, I didn't expect it by no means. But I decided to accept it when I felt the relief of just the thought of it, and I have never looked back. I still keep in touch with all my clients, their parents. I still go out to the soccer games. I still it's still a part of me. Like I'm just starting to get the itch again to coach, so I will go back to it. I just right now I'm just mom, and I have never been happier.
And that's right where you're meant to be.
Yeah,
which is
Amanda
so
will
cool.
tell you can go back when.
Well, and that's the
they're
thing.
in 4K,
It's, yeah,
right?
like I feel it internally. It's like I told my husband. So I do marketing for our printing and packaging company now. His dad started it 20 years ago. He's stepped in ever since COVID. I just when I stopped working, obviously 6 months later, I was like, I think you guys need some socials, and I'm gonna do it. And
I'm a little bored when the kids are napping.
hire me part time. And he was the one that was like, just don't get too deep into it. Just take it slow. And that's exactly what I've been doing. So, I try to, there's times where I'm like, I have all.
Heads up, folks. Interest rates are falling. But as of September 23rd, 2024, you can still lock in a 6% or higher yield with a bond account at public.com. That's a pretty big deal, because when rates drop, so can the interest you earn on your cash. A bond account allows you to lock in a 6% or higher yield with a diversified portfolio of high yield and investment grade corporate bonds. So while other people are watching their returns shrink, you can sit back with regular interest payments. But you might want to act fast, because your yield is not locked in until you invest. The good news? It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up at public.com. Lock in a 6% or higher yield with a bond account, only at public.com. Brought to you by Public Investing, member FINRA and SIPC. Yield to worst is not guaranteed. Not an investment recommendation. All investing involves risk. Visit public.com/disclosures for more info.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. What's your perfect night? Maybe you're settled at home alone or with loved ones, covered in blankets, about to watch your favorite show. It's cozy, it's calm, and you're ready for a perfect night in. Therapy can feel a bit like that. A place for comfort. A time when you replenish your energy and take care of yourself. And hey, you can even do it without leaving that same cozy couch. This season is the perfect time to give therapy a try, right from the comfort of home. With BetterHelp, get matched with a tailored therapist based on your needs and preferences, entirely online. Designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a therapist, and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Find comfort this season with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com to learn more and save 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com.
These visions, and I brought in Baxter, and he did a whole film for us and helped us pretty much boost everything that we have and get the recognition that we have since May or June that was.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I put the stop to things as of now. I have all these things I want to do. I just know myself, if I start them, I'll get right back into the space I was unhappy in. So slowly but surely, and everyone I work with and for is okay with that. So that's where I'm at.
And then if your kids choose to play soccer, you can be their coach.
Yes. Maybe.
How cool would
Or
that
I'll
be?
decide, or I hope that they don't do anything that I know how to do, because I just want to sit back and be like, good job.
Good job, well done. Well, so your boys are cute as heck on the golf course, though. They take
they
up
are.
to say.
Yes.
Nobody wears a backwards hat quite like your boys and Wes. I'm just like, come on. Like,
They are little ballers.
It's
I will
unfair.
say that.
It's unfair.
They are so cute.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I know that we need to be respectful of people's time as well, but I really want to make sure that we can kind of rapid fire or can round table it fast, but I'm always fascinated by either a lesson learned or something that stands out to you, or if something that somebody else said that you're like, okay, I really have a question for Anna because of this. Like, we want to give you that opportunity. Don't feel like we just have
Or
to
a
ask
piece of
the
advice
questions, or a
that
piece
you
of
would give
advice.
to your younger self.
That might even be a better way to do it. But we just want to give everybody an opportunity to kind of just continue to keep sharing a little bit, and also be respectful of your time, obviously, in that case as well. So, Amanda, I guess I'm curious from your perspective, right? You've been doing this. You've taken so many different avenues over the last couple of years, and I've only known you for a couple of years, but it's been fun just to watch you and cheer you on from the couple of 2 or 3 years that you and I have known each other. But what would you say has been either a lesson learned or something that has changed the way that you do business on a daily basis?
That's a really good question. I think when it comes to entrepreneurship, most people have an entrepreneurial, is that a word?
That's the
It's
word,
hard
yeah.
to say.
It is, yeah.
Dream, right? Like something they're passionate about that they're like, oh, I would love to someday own this or do this. And someday isn't a day. And I very eloquently say, there are people that have done this that are a lot stupider than I am, and they figured it out.
I love that.
Yes.
So why not me?
Yeah.
And especially as women, I think we come up with 100 million excuses for ourselves. Oh, I'm not intelligent enough. I don't have the experience. I don't, I can list a million things, but why not you?
Mm-hmm.
And I love what you said, like someday isn't a day.
Correct.
Because
100%.
a lot of us think in some days. Someday I'll do this. Someday I'll do that. Tomorrow I'll go to the gym. That's a lie. I'm not going to the gym tomorrow. But you know what I mean? We're always like, well, I can start that. I can start that. I can start that. But somebody gave me a round coin that said to it on it. And I'm like, what's this? And she's like, when you get around to it, you got to do it. Right. And it's same as like someday. I'm like, why are you giving me something that says to it? She's like, so when you get around to it.
Yeah, here it is.
Because so many, and do you know what it was? It was a trust and will and estate planning. And she said she gives them out to people all the time because they're like, I'll do that when I get around to it. Oh, it's not a priority. I'll get around to it. So you give up a little around to it. So it's like someday. So instead of saying someday, give yourself a date and go do it.
Yeah.
I love that.
I will say this too, just you and I said, you and I've done a couple different things together, but you stand out in my head anytime something funny or unique or just like, what? Like happens to me. We were sitting in a house in Rockford, and we were sitting at that beautiful kitchen, and you looked at me and you're like, none of this makes sense. Like, how are we here? But I love what you said. You're like, but more, please. Like, and that, like, it was just such a simple thing. And I've told that to so many other people. I'm like, anytime, like, we shouldn't be standing here or sitting here or whatever, right? Like how is this possible? But more, please. Like, this is great. Thank you so much for this.
And reflect on it.
Correct.
And
exactly.
accept it and acknowledge it.
Yes.
Because so many times we get caught up in the day to day. We don't say like, well, I did that. That's a really cool thing. I did that. I love that.
Yes, 100%. Because you get lost in the grind sometimes, right? Like, I'm sure you go home and you're like, yep, I did 12 different treatments today. You're like, great, that was another day. I got to go home, see my family, whatever. But you don't know how many lives you may have changed that day. You don't know how many people you made feel beautiful that day. How many people maybe got a scholarship because you worked with them. You've bought their dream house. Like, there's so many different things, those ripple effects that you don't always hear about until a year, 2, 3 years later, right? That's just how it happens sometimes with entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
But it's a beautiful thing about it.
Katie, do you have something?
I guess, again, being a newer entrepreneur, probably the most naive one here. In May, it will be 3 years, so 2.5 years.
Sure.
Just like allowing and being open to like evolving, I'm 36, almost 37, and like, just like the way I have evolved as a business owner over the last 3 years. I mean, I'm a different person than I was 3 years ago.
Right.
I'm an introvert, and like doing this tonight, like, was not something I would have done 3 years ago. But I'm just being open to saying yes and to trying new things. And
I love that. Yeah.
And so, I think it's a pretty cool thing.
And we appreciate you being here and taking that step, right? Because like you said, that's the hope. I would hope that any of us, whenever we started day one, is not the same person we are today, right? Like you're doing something wrong if that's the case. So to be growing and to constantly evolving, as you mentioned, to use that word, is so important.
So what I heard is you're coming back to be a guest on another show because you're here.
Deep dive, yes.
And so why not more?
Absolutely.
That's what I heard.
Exactly.
I'll be back.
I like it. Mackenzie, what about you?
What was the question?
We don't have any more questions.
Whether it's like a lesson learned or
Yeah.
just something that you feel like was
Or advice.
Yeah,
or
advice that helped
anything.
you be successful.
I think one, like just believing in yourself and knowing that like you are enough in whatever that is that you are doing, because often like I think my day-to-day like consisted of also trying to justify it for myself, like this is good enough, we are good enough, what I do is good enough, but also allowing that to be enough and to listen to like your heart the whole time, because sometimes, especially in all the businesses that we have, you're serving other people and that can get in the way and be noise and constant noise. And I think like in my position, I let that speak louder than my own heart and head. And it wasn't until like I found myself in a dark place that I finally listened to myself. And also don't be ashamed if you get to a place where you feel lonely and you need like some.
Listen up, folks. Time could be running out to lock in a historic yield at Public.com. As of September 23rd, 2024, you can lock in a 6% or higher yield with a bond account. But here's the thing. The Federal Reserve just announced a big rate cut, and the plan is for more rate cuts this year and in 2025 as well. That's good news if you're looking to buy a home, but it might not be so good for the interest you earn on your cash. So, if you want to lock in a 6% or higher yield with a diversified portfolio of high yield and investment-grade bonds, you might want to act fast. The good news? It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up at Public.com. And once you lock in your yield, you can earn regular interest payments even as rates decline. Lock in a 6% or higher yield with a bond account at Public.com. But hurry, your yield is not locked in until you invest. Brought to you by Public Investing, member FINRA and SIPC. Yield to worst is not guaranteed. Not an investment recommendation. All investing involves risk. Visit Public.com/disclosures for more info.
This time of year, a good hoodie is absolutely essential. But these days, it's tough to find one that will last through the season. That's why the American Giant Classic Full Zip Hoodie is made to last a lifetime. So you can count on it to bring you comfort and warmth year after year. Slate Magazine called it the greatest hoodie ever made. And from cotton to zipper, it's made right here in the USA. It's crafted with timeless style, heavyweight fleece, a double-lined hood, and reinforced elbow patches, which means this hoodie can withstand any outing or adventure. It'll be your new favorite hoodie, and you can depend on it for years to come. Plus, buying from American Giant means supporting local communities of farmers, manufacturers, and more. This season, snag the hoodie that will bring you comfort for life, the American Giant Classic Full Zip, and save 20% off your first order at american-giant.com when you use code CLASSIC24 at checkout. That's 20% off your first order at american-giant.com. Code CLASSIC24.
Advice from other people or some conversation, which is kind of like the point of all of this, because it is hard at the end of the day, no matter what you do, whether you own a business or work for somebody or whatever it may be, just allow yourself to lean on other people and be vulnerable in it.
I think that's a very valid big point, because as entrepreneurs, we get up every day and we put on this great face and we're tough and things are going great and everything's fine. And then things aren't always fine, or we're dealing with something personal, but we still have to put on the game face, right? And so finding your people, your tribe that can support you in it, I think is super important.
I love that.
Anna, what words of wisdom do you have for us today?
I was kind of thinking of something, what I was going to say was kind of similar to what Katie had said, but as she was talking, I was thinking about how there's that saying that is, oh gosh, I don't want to mess it up. Owning a business is like it's a personal growth opportunity disguised as a financial opportunity. And truly, that is how it has been for me. And I'm sure all of you, just what I've learned about myself in the last how many years. And just like you were saying, I'm just not the same person I was. I do things that I never thought I'd be doing. And I don't know. I just think it changes you in all the best ways, but it also amplifies things about yourself that, like, if you're struggling with anxiety or self-doubt or, like, you know, not being enough, like, being a business owner amplifies, like, the thoughts in your head, the voice in your head, all of that. And kind of to go hand in hand with that, I have learned through learning about myself is I had to learn how to delegate. That has been the last 2 years for me has been like my focus and just very difficult for me. I'm very much like, I'll just do it. Like, I'll just do it all myself. I'm very independent and I'll take it all on and put the world on my shoulders. And that's what I do. And like, what do they say? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Yeah. And that's truly what I have learned the hard way many, many times. But delegation. And then I think there's like a fulfillment piece in that too. Like, the more I delegate and find the right people in my business to step up and take on these things, and then to see them do things better than I ever could have. They take these roles and responsibilities and they're like amazing at this, and they make this system or this process, or like they make the client experience better. Whatever they do, they put their own magic on it. And then it's so fulfilling to me to see them step up in this role and make everybody's job, business experience, whatever, better because of the role that they're in, because they took on the responsibility and they took ownership of it and they love it. Like, they're excited to have this responsibility and they're excited to step up and just to see, I don't know, the team be excited and have these things put on them so they can have onus of it has been huge for me in learning, like, okay, you have to let go more and you have to give the stuff away because they want it. So
and I think something huge about that too is it can be bittersweet if you're a competitive person. I'm super competitive. And when you said that, the first thing that I thought about, maybe you remember this, but we started selling paid in fulls in cryotherapy. And that was a huge thing where if you could get people to pay for the whole year in advance, right? And it was something I got really good at. And then I started teaching the team. And I remember the first time the team would start to do it. And I was like, dang it, they're going to get better at this than me. Instead of being like, oh, I don't have to do it by myself anymore. This whole team's doing it. Yeah. But it's a fine line when you're managing or you're an owner to be like threatened by the people that you've taught to do something so great, or to step back and say, I taught them to do that. That's exactly what I want, so I can breathe again. But I think it's a very valid point, and being able to embrace it and move forward with it.
Yeah,
so I love that.
Can we all just raise a glass to delegation, right? Like, you all have at some point
team.
had to delegate, right? Like, you have had assistants or other people that work with you, and we would all not be where we are without those things, right? Like that. But also, we do have to get up and do the work at the same time, right? Yes. Like, each one of us as a point person in our business. I was talking with this with my wife over the weekend. I'm like, if I don't get up and I don't do the work tomorrow, no one else is going to do it.
Right.
Like, we're not going to just randomly make money. We're not going to no one's just going to show up and be like, here you go. Here's just some money so your family can eat this month. Like, oh, thank you very much. Like, that's just not how it works, you know. Right. And for a lot of us, right, you have to show up. You have to do the work. Yep. And building a good clientele, building a good support system, people that you can just say.
Building your people.
Yeah, business is hard. This is really hard, but boy, am I glad to have people that I can talk to in a safe space and feel supported and show up every day and know that there's other people going through it with me as well. You know?
Can I tell a really quick
story?
Please.
As we're sitting here, my cortisol is literally through the roof because I have a client texting me that they are locked out of their house because the last person that showed their house locked all of their doors and their only key is in the lockbox, which can only be opened by a licensed realtor. So as we're sitting here, I'm texting my other team members and my assistant, Katy, dropped what she was doing with her friends and has left and went to let our clients into her house.
This is life.
Find your people.
Find your people.
Like,
Holy smokes.
none of us can do it on our own. Whether you have a supportive spouse or you have people in your corner that are employees or people that take on that role for you to be able to sit down in this space and just have.
While you're
you don't look
sipping
like
your
you
wine.
I was like, when were you doing this? Like, you must be like.
To calmly know that somebody has your back in your business
100%.
is priceless, really.
Putting the right people
And to be
in
a
the right
champion at putting out fires without anyone knowing there's a fire.
I was going to say, I was like, I've looked at you 100 times and your face hasn't changed.
That's
once,
because I was listening to Katie's soothing voice. I was like, oh, read me bedtime stories.
The NPR voice.
I do.
Okay, so super quick as we wrap, I think make sure let's go around the round table.
Yeah.
Plug it.
The round coffee, whatever.
Yeah, it was going to be a table.
crescent
but
moon.
that's okay.
And then share one more time how people can find you
and
on
support
social
your
media
business.
and
What
how
you
they can
serve,
support
yeah.
you. Like, hey, if I need to buy a house, I'm calling Appleton's homegirl.
Fox City's
homegirl.
Amanda Furman.
Amanda, I feel like that should be a jingle. There should be a jingle with it, like a rough jingle, though.
Okay.
Like a rap jingle. Homegirl.
We'll work on it.
Okay. All right. So
We'll
tell us
workshop it.
how we can find each of you and support your business.
So if you or somebody you like or love or just kind of maybe
no.
you don't like them, you can send them
You don't
our
discriminate.
way. AmandaFurman.com. Or my phone number is 920-222-1068. It's plastered on billboards throughout the Fox Valley.
Love.
Which comes with a lot of fun texts. But we
Sure. Oh my
we
gosh.
would be
I didn't even think of
happy
that.
to help educate anybody on the market. If you have questions, it doesn't mean you have to buy or sell. We're here to just help educate people on their options with real estate.
And that's home ownership, but then also if people want to get into property development or
Are you doing any sort of like
investing.
mentoring at all in that
I
capacity?
am.
Okay.
I just started. Coincidentally enough, my dream right now is to take a property and turn it into small micro spaces for entrepreneurs.
Love.
So that's going to be my next big project. When you guys were saying that, is making my heart.
Oh, I love
I
that.
love that.
I love that.
I love that. Okay.
We can be found at injectorboutique.com. I would say our biggest sort of platform is Instagram, and so we are Injector Boutique. I don't know our phone number off the top of my head because it has changed a couple times, and I don't give out my personal phone number because the messages I get about lips and Botox at 3 a.m. can be interesting. But we're again downtown De Pere, just 2 blocks over.
And a side note, if someone is considering coming to you, they need to plan accordingly.
Yeah, plan ahead.
Book a consult, and if you need to look good for Christmas, get in now, which you won't
no,
get in
you
now.
can't.
Late.
You're too
Yeah,
late.
I'm sorry. I hate saying that.
In 2025,
yes,
get in now.
yes,
Yeah.
I do. Yes,
But I know you've been very candid about sharing that. Like, hey, listen, I'm one person.
And you're in high demand.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's a great
we
problem
Very
to have.
popular.
Yeah, we book out. I book out about 2 months. So,
2 months.
If you're not booked for the holidays, you are too late.
You can
Yes.
start.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay,
Sure.
we got you. Christmas, you're on your own.
Valentine's Day.
I'm trying to book that relaxation.
Oh, it is hot. Let me tell you.
She's got the
video
link. It's
that
on
you
her social
have,
media.
The video that you guys have on Instagram, I'm like, oh.
Yes. Yeah. We like
Johnny.
so awesome.
Johnny, if you're watching this, that would be a great Christmas gift for your wife. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm happy to plug. Do you want to say?
You're
how
always
people
happy to
can
plug.
find you?
I'm happy
Thanks
to.
for doing that.
Doesn't matter to me.
Welcome.
Yeah, all right. Just keep plugging. We'll text Johnny.
Do you want to say who you are and where to find you?
Sure,
Or
I'm
what's
happy
us?
to. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Quick.
I mean, just as a quick refresher. Yeah, ColburnCreativeCo.com, photo, video, podcasting needs, really the Green Bay area, but anywhere. I mean, I was in Minnesota, Illinois, Florida, California. I'll go anywhere. Happy to do it. Just want to tell your story in a fun, engaging way. Social media content, however we can do it. Instagram also is the best way to really interact and just see the sample of the work that we can provide for you and for your company.
Love.
That's what I got.
Wow.
And I'm.
That was good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, you're
And
really
I've
good
done
at
that.
selling. You guys are very good at selling
And
yourselves.
I've
And I'm like,
stroll-edged
hi,
you
I'm
onto
Allie.
Mackenzie.
What's that? I'm just kidding. Yeah.
And I'm
Thank you.
Stroll Edgeview Magazine, just at Stroll Edgeview on social media, and you'll get a good vibe for how we support local businesses in our community, and then also how I work with the residents in the Ledgeview area. So it's really a twofold. I get to work with a lot of people, and I love that. So you can reach out to me on social media. And I know Mackenzie doesn't want to be found right now because she's busy mothering.
I'm hiding out.
Can you plug Orion?
Yeah, plug Orion.
Yeah, so my husband, he owns Orion Labels, which is in Seymour. It's printing and labeling, packaging.
Small and big, because you have small clients and you have big clients. So.
Yep, it's considered a small business. It's it's like 49, 50 employees. But yes, we have many big clients. But you can find them.
But also smaller ones.
Still getting used to
you can find
affiliating myself with it.
Yeah.
It's been super cool just getting to know everyone. But I don't have any self-branding marketing to do because I've decided to move forth. But I support all of you, and I would be happy to meet for coffee at Voyager and just chat. Not only Voyager too, like everywhere else. I support all the coffee shops in here.
The breakfast Sammy.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm Allie, and I'm a photographer, obviously, and I love to document moms and families and children and
fashion
businesses. What would you say?
And fashion.
And fashion. Yes, you can find me at Allison Elise Photo on Instagram is primarily where I do all of my stuff. Allison.Elise is my personal
for all the
Instagram
fits
for all the outfits that I'm currently not sharing but will share in the future.
When she gets done with her edits.
And I would just would love to document
so many edits.
Anyone. I just love it.
I love it.
And the vault space. You want to
and also rent
put
the
a plug
vault.
in for the vault space if you're looking for
a place
to get ready for your wedding or
come have your family photos.
If you're a creator in the area, business owner.
If you're a creative and you're looking,
are you doing holiday parties? Could someone have a small holiday party?
You sure could.
Here?
Yeah.
Sick.
If you're looking to do content creation, or if you're a creative and you're looking to have a space to shoot in the winter months, the vault appear on Instagram.
Love it.
Love.
Cool. Bloom Collab is our www.bloomcollab.com is our website, and you can find us also on Instagram, same handle, Bloom Collab. We're pretty active on Instagram, so we
very
do
active.
respond.
Love that.
Incredibly
Is it
active.
Bloom_collab?
Nope, just Bloom Collab.
Really?
Bloom Collab.
Oh.
Yep.
Get
All one
with
word.
it. Come on.
Yeah, we do still have a few openings for, holiday stuff. We have a select few left. And then, we get a lot of people who maybe have like an established stylist, when you get your person, and that's fine. We're cool with that, but they will come in for like a blowout for special occasions and stuff like that too. So if you want a holiday blowout, we have some openings left for that. And I am going to shameless plug. We are doing a holiday pop-up. Actually, Katie's coming to that.
Excited.
So if you are trying to get in with Katie, she's doing lip flips and B12 shots and makeup applications, all sorts of things. So if you can't get in her schedule,
is that December
come to our
4th?
pop-up. December 4th, 5 to 7:30.
Yes.
We're going to have a bunch of different local vendors and stuff. So
I'll be there photographing.
Allie will
as
be
well.
there.
I'm going to try to be there usually have a good drink. So
we do. We have one
I know I'm
barrel
going to have a
coming
good drink.
to do drinks for
Okay.
ciders for us. Yes, we have a bunch of boutiques and vendors.
You guys do great events.
You
I'm
really
just going
do.
to
That's
say.
a
This
very,
is really just
our
started.
second one, and it's popping off. We're very, very excited. So we're going to do some swag bags and extension consultations and a bunch of stuff there. So
All
come
the
check
good
us
stuff.
out. Yeah, it's
It's going to be so fun.
I love it.
Fun.
Love.
Yeah, great.
I love it. I love it. Ladies, thank you for being here. We're very, very grateful for each of you taking time. We know you're all busy. We didn't even dive into what it's like being an entrepreneur and a parent, so we know that you've got families to get back to. So thank you again.
And you do all have an open invitation.
Anytime, yes. We would like to do deeper dives.
Podcasts. If we can do a deep dive in your business, we would love to do that.
I thought this was the perfect panel
100%.
of business owners for our first roundtable. Conversation flowed so
and
great.
Beautiful.
Gosh.
Very beautiful.
You
yeah.
didn't have to be
amazing.
beautiful to get beautiful to but
I almost
you
didn't
all
make the
are
panel.
beautiful.
You were dying to say that.
I know. You
The
had
whole
to be
time,
beautiful to
you
get
just couldn't
chosen.
wait.
You had to be beautiful to get chosen for tonight's podcast.
She's
Thank
kidding.
you for the
I'm
opportunity.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, glad to have you guys.
Yeah.
Great. Great.
If you want
guys
to
are
see
all
more
great.
of these episodes, let us know. Obviously, the Real Chat Podcast on Instagram. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Thank you for those that have been leaving us ratings and reviews as well. We're very grateful for that. Tell a friend. And we will see you next time for Allie, for Mandi. I'm Baxter. We'll see you next time on the Real Chat Podcast.
Bye.
Bye.
Listen up, folks. Time could be running out to lock in a historic yield at Public.com. As of September 23rd, 2024, you can lock in a 6% or higher yield with a bond account. But here's the thing. The Federal Reserve just announced a big rate cut, and the plan is for more rate cuts this year and in 2025 as well. That's good news if you're looking to buy a home, but it might not be so good for the interest you earn on your cash. So, if you want to lock in a 6% or higher yield with a diversified portfolio of high yield and investment-grade bonds, you might want to act fast. The good news? It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up at public.com. And once you lock in your yield, you can earn regular interest payments even as rates decline. Lock in a 6% or higher yield with a bond account at public.com. But hurry, your yield is not locked in until you invest. Brought to you by Public Investing, member FINRA and SIPC. Yield to worst is not guaranteed. Not an investment recommendation. All investing involves risk. Visit public.com/disclosures for more info.
231. That's the average number of apps used by many companies. This leads to a lot of context and tab switching that drains employee focus and costs your company. Grammarly can help. Grammarly's AI works in over 500,000 apps and websites, making it easy for your team to write clearly and on brand without disrupting workflow. Join 70,000 teams who save an average of $5,000 per employee per year using Grammarly. Go to grammarly.com/enterprise to learn more.